Luca, can I ask you something a little personal?
Of course, that is always a little dangerous, but go ahead.
It is not that dangerous. I just want to know, when was the last time you felt nervous speaking English?
Oh, honestly, last week I had to explain a problem to someone on the phone, and I could feel my heart going faster before I even dialed the number.
That feeling before you even start. I know it so well.
Yeah, and then I started speaking and my first sentence came out in completely the wrong order.
What did you do?
I stopped, I took a breath, and I said, "Sorry, let me try that again." And then it was fine.
Wait, that is actually a really good thing to say. Let me try that again.
It surprised me too. I was expecting the other person to be annoyed, but they just said, "Of course."
That small moment is exactly what we are talking about today. Welcome to English Unlocked. I am Luna.
And I am Luca today. We are talking about that nervous feeling in English, and more importantly, what you can actually say when it arrives.
Because the feeling is real, and it visits all of us, not only language learners.
Right, so if you have ever frozen, said the wrong word, or just gone completely quiet, today's conversation is for you.
We want you to feel a little less alone with this, and a little more ready.
Luna, you mentioned that feeling before you even start. I think that is the hardest part for a lot of people.
It really is, because the nervousness does not wait for the conversation to begin. It starts in your head maybe an hour before.
An hour before, so by the time you actually open your mouth, you have already been nervous for 60 minutes.
Exactly. And 60 minutes of thinking about all the ways it could go wrong is not a great warm-up.
What kind of things do people think about, do you think?
Things like, what if they do not understand me? What if I forget the word I need? What if my accent sounds strange to them?
All of those feel very familiar, and they all have one thing in common.
They are all about how the other person will see you.
Yes, the fear is not really about the English, it is about the judgment.
That is such an important difference. The language is just the surface. The deeper fear is, will this person think less of me?
And that fear is not specific to language learning. People feel that in their first language, too.
That is true, but in a second language, you feel more exposed. You cannot explain your full self as easily.
Exposed, I think that is the right word. You have less control over how you sound, so you feel more vulnerable.
And knowing that does not make the nervousness disappear, but it can change how you see it. If the problem is fear of judgment, then maybe the solution is not to study more grammar. Maybe the solution is to change what you are trying to do.
So instead of trying to sound perfect, you try to do something else?
You try to connect, just to say something real to the person in front of you.
That sounds simple, but I know it does not always feel simple.
No, it really does not, especially in those first 30 seconds.
Luca, talk to me about those first 30 seconds. For a lot of learners, that is where everything falls apart.
You said, Luca, talk to me about, and then asked me the question you said you wanted to ask me. I noticed that.
Old habits. Okay, Luna, talk to me about those first 30 seconds.
The first 30 seconds are so difficult because your brain is trying to do too many things at once. It is listening, translating, thinking about grammar, watching the other person's face, and planning your next sentence.
That is a lot.
It is too much. And when you try to do all of that at once, your mind can just stop.
It goes blank.
Completely blank. And then the silence feels very long, even if it is only 3 seconds.
3 seconds of silence can feel like a whole minute when you are nervous.
And that panic makes everything worse. You start thinking, why can I not speak? What is wrong with me? And then the words really do not come.
So what can someone actually do in that moment? What can they say?
First, give yourself permission to pause. A short silence is not a failure.
That is harder than it sounds.
I know, but there are also some simple sentences that can help you buy a little time. Things like, "That is a good question. Let me think for a second."
Oh, I like that. It sounds calm and polite. It does not sound like panic at all.
And it gives you a genuine few seconds to organize your thoughts.
Another one I use sometimes is, "Could you say that again, please?" Even if I understood the question, saying it again helps me feel less rushed.
That is so smart. You are not pretending you did not understand. You are just slowing the conversation down to a speed that works for you.
And in my experience, people never mind. They say it again or they explain it differently, and suddenly it feels easier.
Because the pressure lifts a little when you are not racing against the clock in your own head.
Exactly. That racing feeling is the real enemy.
So the first 30 seconds are about one thing: staying in the conversation, not speaking perfectly, just staying.
Just staying, I like that as a goal. It is small enough to actually do.
Luca, can I tell you about something embarrassing that happened to me?
Please, I am ready.
I was at a small work meeting, and someone asked me what I thought about a new idea, and I wanted to say I think it is promising, but instead I said I think it is promising, problematic.
Oh no, which word came out?
Both of them came out. I said promising, and then immediately said problematic in the same breath.
So you gave two completely opposite opinions at the same time.
Yes, and everyone looked at me, and I could feel my face going red. And for a moment I thought, I should just be quiet for the rest of this meeting.
But you did not.
No, because I caught myself and said, "Sorry, I meant promising. I think it is a good idea."
And that was enough.
That was completely enough. Someone laughed in a warm way, and we moved on.
Wow, you said one short sentence and recovered. That is actually a skill.
It did not feel like a skill in the moment. It felt like surviving.
Fair, but sorry I meant, is a really useful phrase. Short, clear, and it moves the conversation forward.
The important thing is, you do not need to explain everything. You do not need to say, "I am sorry, my English is not perfect, and I was nervous, and I mixed up two words."
That would take much longer than the mistake itself.
Exactly. One short phrase, then continue.
So making a mistake is not the problem. Stopping completely after the mistake, that is the problem.
Yes, the mistake is 1 second. The stopping can last the whole conversation.
Luna, I want to talk about the physical part of nervousness for a moment, because it is not only in your head.
Oh, you are right. The body does very specific things.
For me, my voice gets quieter, like I am trying to disappear.
For me, I speak faster. I think if I speak quickly, maybe the nervous moment will be over sooner.
That is such a logical but completely unhelpful strategy.
I know speaking faster makes it harder to understand me, which makes me more nervous, which makes me speak even faster.
A very efficient circle of panic.
Very efficient, yes. The opposite of what I need.
So what actually helps for the body, not just the mind?
One thing that really works is slowing down on purpose, even when every part of you wants to rush.
Slowing down on purpose. That is interesting because it feels counterintuitive when you are nervous.
It does, but slower speech gives your brain more time, and it usually sounds more confident to the listener even when you do not feel confident.
So you are performing calm even before you feel it.
Sort of, yes. And then the calm can catch up. I know that idea sounds too simple, but for speaking pace, it genuinely works.
Fair. The physical action leads the emotional feeling.
And breathing. One slow breath before you begin can actually reset the body.
It feels almost too simple to be useful.
I know, but the body responds to it. The racing heart slows a little, the voice steadies.
One breath before the first word.
Just one. It can be very quiet, but it creates a tiny moment of stillness before the words begin.
I am going to try that. I usually just throw myself into the first word and hope for the best.
I recognize that strategy too.
Okay, we have talked about nervousness before you speak and the first 30 seconds, but what about the middle of a conversation when your mind suddenly goes blank?
Oh, that one. That is a specific kind of panic.
You are doing well, the conversation is going fine, and then suddenly someone says something and your mind just empties.
Like the word you need has left the building.
Exactly, and you are standing there looking for it.
That happens to me with individual words more than with whole sentences. Like, I know the concept I want to say, but the exact English word disappears.
What do you do?
I describe the word. Instead of searching for the exact word, I just describe the thing I mean.
Can you give an example?
Sure, if I forget the word deadline, I might say the date when the work must be finished. It is longer, but it communicates the idea clearly.
And the other person usually just gives you the word naturally.
Yes, they say, oh, you mean the deadline. And then you have it.
So, forgetting a word becomes a small collaboration.
I love that way of seeing it. A collaboration. You are not failing alone. You are solving it together.
And it is actually very natural. Even in your first language, you sometimes have to describe a word you have forgotten.
We all do that.
Another thing I do is redirect. I say, let me think about this from a different angle. It gives me a moment to find a different path to the same idea.
It sounds thoughtful, not lost. There are so many small strategies like this, little bridges that keep you in the conversation even when your brain feels unreliable.
And that is the important thing. Keep the connection. Do not disappear.
Because disappearing is actually harder for the other person than a small mistake or a moment of searching.
When someone goes quiet and looks distressed, the other person does not know what to do.
But when someone says, "Give me a second," the other person can wait or help.
You are letting them into the problem instead of hiding it.
Luca, I want to talk about something that I think gets forgotten in this topic.
What is that?
The feeling after a difficult conversation that actually went okay.
Oh, that feeling is very specific.
It is it not? You were so nervous before, and then it happened, and it was not perfect, but it was okay, and you feel this quiet kind of relief.
Yes. Like when you step off a bus that you were worried about catching. You were on it. You made it.
And that feeling is important because your brain remembers it.
It does.
Every time you have that "I made it" feeling, your brain updates its idea of what is possible. Next time, the nervous feeling is still there, but it is a little smaller.
So small wins actually change something, not just in the moment, but in how you approach the next difficult conversation.
You just need to notice the win.
Notice it, not rush past it.
Right. After a difficult conversation in English, take a moment, even just one quiet thought. That was hard, and I did it.
That is kind. I do not think I usually do that. I usually immediately think about the parts that went wrong.
Most people do. We find our mistakes quickly and forget our small wins just as fast. Noticing what went right is a habit worth practicing.
Especially when you are learning a language, progress is often invisible until you look for it. After your next English conversation, notice one thing that went well. It does not have to be big. Maybe you found the right word or stayed calm when you wanted to panic.
Small wins, but they build into something real.
Luna, can we put together a small collection of phrases, things someone can actually use the next time nervousness arrives?
Yes, I think that is a great idea. Real phrases, not textbook sentences.
Okay, we have already mentioned a few. Let me try that again. That is a good question. Let me think for a second. Sorry, I meant, what else?
Could you say that a little more slowly, please? That one is so simple, but people often feel embarrassed to say it.
Why embarrassed?
Because they think it signals that their English is not good enough.
But asking someone to speak more slowly is just good communication. People do it in their first language too.
Of course they do, and most people are happy to slow down when you ask politely.
So, could you say that a little more slowly, please, is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of someone who takes the conversation seriously.
Exactly. Another one I like is, I want to make sure I understand. You mean, and then you summarize what you heard.
Oh, that is useful, because it checks your understanding and shows the other person that you are listening carefully.
And if you understood correctly, they confirm it. If not, they gently correct you.
No embarrassment either way.
None. And here is one for when you need a moment. You can say, that is interesting. It is simple, honest, and it gives you a second to think.
I have used that one. Sometimes I really mean it, and sometimes I am just buying time. It works both ways.
And if nervousness makes you rush, you can quietly say, okay, let me say that again, more clearly. You catch yourself and reset.
Saying it out loud is not embarrassing. It sounds thoughtful. Short phrases. Easy to remember, easy to say, even when your heart is racing.
Short phrases, easy to remember, easy to say even when your heart is racing.
Keep them in your pocket.
Keep them in your pocket, ready for when you need one.
Luna, we are coming to the end of today's conversation, and I feel like I want to say one last thing to everyone listening.
Go ahead.
Nervousness when speaking English is not a problem with your English. It is a problem with the pressure around your English, and that pressure is something you can work with.
You can change your relationship with it. You cannot always make it disappear, but you can stop letting it decide whether you speak or stay silent.
Because staying silent is a choice too, and it is not always the safest one. It can become a habit.
And we want you to have a different habit, speaking even when it is a little uncomfortable.
Not perfectly, just honestly.
With the phrases in your pocket, one slow breath before the first word and one thought after, I did it.
If today's episode felt useful to you, we would love to know. What is the situation where you feel most nervous in English? Tell us in the comments.
And if you know someone who also feels nervous, share this with them. They are not alone, and neither are you.
Thank you for spending this time with us. We are very glad you are here.
We will see you in the next episode of English Unlocked. Until then, keep speaking.
Take care. Bye.